Hello and welcome to the Aaron Roussos podcast. Today's podcast is about things that go bump in the night. And look, we all have grown up not liking the dark, or, we all have this residue of this dark energy and things in our Akashic records of entities and things, and that mixed with unbalanced consciousness and a picture of fear and doom and gloom from our family and our environment and culture contributes to expecting bad things to happen, and it can make you quite fearful and keep you in a state of perpetual fear. And that state is not true at all. When you understand physics and quantum physics and consciousness and the system we're part of and how it all works, and you really, it takes some time to grow and to graduate into this knowing. But you then realise that all of those things that you've been fearful from your whole life just don't simply exist. Why would something keep you in, because we gravitate towards drama, and it's more of a story, right? The drama and the negative stuff on the news sells a lot better than all the good stuff. And so, for me, someone that, I was scared of the dark. I thought, it was ghosts, and I thought there was ghosts and entities and this and mass murderers, and someone was going to come through the window and that. And it was always a very doom and gloom expectation on my behalf, no matter how much I grew up, or even watching horror movies later in life and thinking. And then it wasn't until even the last couple of years, and I've been around for a while, when I understood about the soul side of us and entities and the crystalline grid on the earth, and how it stores energy and reincarnation and what is actually possible, that I realized that every single piece of fear indoctrination that I had was false. And look, it's going to take a while for you to come to the same realization, because I've been studying us and how this whole place works for many years. And so someone just on a podcast telling you that there's nothing that goes bump in the night, you're going to want to see some proof, and it's going to take a while to get to that level of what I know. Now, other entities, yes. The world is teeming with life forms. Okay, are there aliens? Yes. Do we understand aliens? No. Would we call them aliens if that was us in a million years? Probably not. We would call them our star family. And it's just a basic thing that we don't know the system that we're part of. So therefore, like I've told you already, that everything's a lie, right? This is just another part of it. So if you knew the system that we're part of, then you would realize that what we call, an alien is just us in a million years, which is a long time, right? But that's how long a planet normally takes to, if you zoomed out and looked at the bigger picture, that's how long it takes for a planet to graduate. And we're in our infancy. We're babies in this whole scheme and process thing. And so it's written in my book, the absolute theory of everything so far, the system that we're part of and how it all works. 1 million years. When we graduate, then we get, we know that the universe, we're basically a grain of sand in the universe. And so if you knew the bigger picture, zooming out, that if you one day went to graduate, that at that end of that process, and there's reincarnation, there's all this multidimensional stuff going, weaving in and out throughout everything. So if we knew that basically at the end of our graduation here, that we were going to get into a state where we were then given the opportunity to go and seed our DNA with another planet that is ripe and ready for seeding within the universe, then we would go there. Like there was a time a couple of 100,000 years ago, which anthropologists called in a book called The End of Variety. It's once again referenced in my book. I'm not giving you anything that isn't substantiated here, but there were 17 types of humans walking the earth, just like there's different types of chimp and monkeys and other mammals as well. And so we were seeded by another graduate. It wasn't just one planet, it was a bit of a little system. And they came here and seeded us, and that's what gives us our spark of divinity. They stayed for 1,000 years to make sure that it worked. And they shared different things and technologies and survival things with us. And that's why we can't explain a lot of the things from the past, a lot of those ancient things, and how pyramids were built and all the rest of it. You know, we've since, you know, it might be the 5th group of humans on Earth to give it a go, and we're the longest maybe now as well, which you don't know all this stuff, right? We're when you think about it, it's pretty hyper fixated on a couple of generations of what we understand, what our education system, which I've said that is a lie as well, because if you knew the who you really were, then you wouldn't be controlled whatsoever, and you would be in a completely different thing. So most planets, or groups of humans that are seeded with DNA from someone else that has been graduated through this process, most of them start out in a very infancy stage like we're at, and negative energy and negative forces can manipulate and rule the world, because in that state we all know that nothing gets better unless something snaps and breaks first, and we also know that through that process, the yin and the yang, we wouldn't be able to be free if we weren't trapped in the first place. We need to make that, know the difference between the two. We couldn't have good without bad, is what I'm trying to say. So we're on our trajectory, and we have a spark from a creator, and anthropologists call it the end of variety, because when we were given our spark, all the other types of humans, they all dropped off. The variety ended, and we're the ones that survived it. So we don't know a lot about all of that, and the history of that. We don't understand how the bigger picture works, but it's definitely something that one day we will know. Now, things that go bump in the night is really because we are at an infancy, we are little babies that don't know what's going on. So all those entities, all those things, now we don't know that there's no such thing as ghosts as we know them. There's no such thing as religion as we know it. It's everything's like a really poor version or state that isn't entirely true. So all those ghost stories and everything in 3D in a linear that we see, we sensationalize, we mix it with fear and unbalanced consciousness, and we're scared of it. And there's nothing to be scared of whatsoever. I grew up in a haunted hotel, and you know, with the last couple of years, sort of insights to things and about the crystalline grid and how energy's stored, and I look back and went, yeah, you know what? George, who was the ghost in our pub that I grew up in, he did the same things all the time. He shook the glasses down there. He walked on that step. It was almost like a holographic video that was on repeat. There was no difference. There was no variety with George. And so therefore there was never any, forms of communication and now with my expertise and supreme knowledge more than anyone else on earth about quantum physics and energy and consciousness, I can see how that paranormal stuff can happen, and once again, it's those three things mixed together that make that, and then your 3D interpretation to fear it. None of those energies, that paranormal activity and things that happen can ever harm you, and there's nothing that's ever been recorded as being harmed, right? Ever. But we don't sit back and think about these things. We're too busy being fearful or listening to everyone else and trying to get into the drama of it as a human being. So basically there's a crystalline grid, and I've been to Auschwitz where many people died, and it's got an eerie feeling, and not only do we have these holographic sort of loops, we also have these eerie and cold sort of feelings when we go into these places, and that's the energy being stored in the crystalline grid. We don't want to forget about these. We're reincarnating millions of times onto the planet, and some of the things we capture when we come back, and it's all to do with the soul part of us and the mind and the intuitive and the connection and all the rest of it, which is the least known part or that we know about life. So we don't understand how it all works. I do, and I'm delivering it to you now as a bit of a precursor to your own journey and what's coming on, but to say that that these things were that are all there and all happening quite now, but and I mentioned at the start, I'm being really, really scared of things, and what sparked this whole episode was that I saw online yesterday. I got online, and I've been locked out of many Facebook accounts, and I went on yesterday just to say, look, if I could log in, this is my last day on social media. I'm getting off this year. It's just too confusing, so much lies, and it's all designed to fucking make us dysfunctional. There's no good that ever comes from it, right? There's nothing there. It's all drama. It's all indoctrination. It's all fucking bullshit. To me, you can do whatever you want. I've never ever tell people what they should and can't do. I present what I present. It's for you to grab, take what you want, bank what you want, and let the rest go. So I get on there, and there's this lady on a spiritual group that I've been part of for years, and she's like, can someone come over to my house and clear the dark entities and the spirits and the things that are it's really bad, and da da da. And then 100 people responded, oh yeah, I can come and clear that for you, I can do this, I can do that. And I'm like, it doesn't work like that. That's all made up within your mind. Fear, low consciousness, unbalanced consciousness, residue in your Akashic records, mix it all together, and you're fearful of there being dark entities. Even if there was entities, right? Let's just talk about the entities themselves. There are many different types of entities. Once again, it's in my book, so the details, the salamanders, the sliths, all the different types, even right down to the leprechaun, how it all works, and those is in my book. It's not, and it's easily explained. But any one of those entities cannot harm you. You are a being of light with a spark from the Creator within you that therefore makes a oneness and creation with over the veil and all the rest of it, everything is in fear of you. Do you understand that? Every entity, whether they're from Earth, here on Earth, coming to Earth, being part of it or whatever, all of those entities, because your light that is within you that they don't have, you can vaporize them just by being fearful of them and seeing them. So they hide from you because your light will vaporize them. Okay, it's a physics, it's a quantum physics, it's full on, but there is nothing ever to be feared, right? You might see something in the corner of your eye, whatever. So ghosts are a holographic energy imprint, which you see over and over. There's been no two-way conversation with any ghost in the history of the world. So you can dispel the ghost thing, right? It's an energy thing. They're not going to do anything. They're not going to thing. So secondly, the entity thing, you hold all the cards in that position, because they can basically be completely vaporized by you, and that's why they hide from you. So they, even if you got to a level of consciousness where you're able to be in the presence of one of these entities and not be so scared that you would just fully freak out and vaporize them, you could easily just say with intent, just go away, I don't want you here, and they will respectfully retreat. Even if you could, and there's a handful of people on Earth that would even go to that. Okay, so we're dispelling everything, right? That goes bump in the night, so ghosts are gone, entities gone. Now, aliens come and go. They were us a million years ago. We have our star family. We all get online and we go, oh, fucking, I'm an Acturian and I'm an Orion and I'm this and I'm that, and we gravitate, and it's very 3D of us to grab a group, hold it and go, that's my group, and da-da-da, and you have no fucking idea what you're talking about, right? How fucking very human of you. You idiots. Pleiadians came here a couple of 100,000 years ago and seeded us with the seed of their DNA. They're our parents. The Arcturians seeded the Pleiadians, and they're our grandparents. They're their parents, and so on and so on. So every single alien that is out there is part of our star family. Okay? There is no such thing as a galactic federation of light. Why? Because when a planet graduates and we become beings of light, there's stages we go through. As we graduate, right, we rely on food less, we get right down to, we survive on light, sunlight and water, and then eventually we become a being of light. Intergalactic travel is as easy as catching a bus for them, right? They can just come here and view us, and basically, so we're not part of any group, we're part of all of them. They're all our star family. They all love us, but we are dangerous to them right now. We're in a very volatile, dangerous infancy where they'll come and view us, and the way that they see us and view us is through something that we all know about. It's called the Hebrew word for to ride, called the macabre. Now, macabre can be sort of identified as a bit of an energy field. It's something that, has been reported on as going 8 meters wide and high, and we can sit in each other's field and get coherence on things, or your higher self and my higher self can get coherence on things and move forward. And that's the way all the world sort of, in that, we've got, biological timeline and our soul timeline. In the soul side of the timeline, that's how we evolve. Now, you need quantum sight to be able to see the macabre. It's stored in our DNA. And for those of you who might think back and go, oh yeah, they only know the scientists in 3D on Earth only know what 3.5% of our DNA does. Well, the other 90-something% of DNA has the blueprint of your divinity, the macabre, the everything. And guess what? Something governs it. You're innate. And your innate is what you, a kinesiologist, you go on muscle test to tell you what everything that's gone on about you that you don't know. So we have this this bubble that we ride around in, that's called the macabre. And when these star family come here to check in on us, they have quantum sight. We don't. We will have instruments one day that will be able to read things quantumly. We have very high-powered telescopes that can see the 3 billion chemicals strong in a strand of DNA. So one day we will have quantum sight, but at the moment we don't. If you could see through our star family's eyes, they come and they check on us, and we've seen different spaceships sitting out there, and because of all sorts of things, we don't know what's true and what's not, and we're in a state of confusion, but we go, oh yeah, that could have been a... And anyway, they do come and check on us. They see our macabre, and they see through that translucent, like very different colours, right? Amazing colours that you couldn't even imagine with your own mind right now. And within that colour system in our macabre tells the state of development as far as human beings, because I sit in your energy field, we become coherent on something and we develop and we move forward, and that. So the whole planet to them is seen as, with this quantum sight, as a whole lot of colours. And just say, for instance, when the majority of the planet, because everything's moving collectively, right? We have individuality, but we're all connected as one. That spark comes from the same creator. We're all in oneness. We're all connected to a frequency, a vibration, even being so slight that we all are collective. And they see the colors, and they know that when it gets to this beautiful, say, purple, that it's safe to land. So they come here and check on us to check out the colours of the whole planet. They see the whole planet and they see it all, and it's at the moment yellow, and they go, yep, they're not ready, they're still cooking, they're still in the oven, they're not baked enough, they're not ready to thingo. And so there's no time, right? Time was created by us here on this planet. There's doing and done, there's markers and whatever to them, but there's no time. They don't give a fuck about time. They're not they can't be impatient because there is no time. They just go, they're not ready. It's not safe to land. And so they're all our star family. They all come here quite often. Now there is no galactic federation because of that graduation state. When you become a being of light, to be able to be an alien, to be able to be part of the star family and stuff, everyone's in cooperation. Here on Earth we have duality, the yin and the yang, the right and the wrong, and we have corruption and all these things that can manipulate and corrupt the system to do terrible things to each other. Up there, they're all in cooperation. So there doesn't need to be any groups, organizations, federations, wars. We were not created, right, from a galactic war against reptilians and dark energy and fear. There is none of that there. It's a singularity. All of the darkness resides here on this planet within a human being's mind, in an unbalanced consciousness mixed with fear that they see through the mental side of life. And there is residue in our Akashic record, in the macabre, of past life with all these entities. You mix all that together, and that's where the fear comes from. It is completely within each and every one of you. So when you go online, which is very hard for me to do these days, knowing this truth, and I see a transmission from the Galactic Federation of Light saying, we are coming down soon, we know that you are it's all fucking bullshit. There is no groups. They don't fight. We're the ones that fight. We're the ones that have duality. They only love, and they are beings of light. So us here right now, we have a spark of the Creator in our infancy, and we have this light. Our DNA efficacy is about 33%. Our immune systems are shot. But as we graduate on this planet, we get to a point where we become them, we become the beings of light, and our DNA is 100% activated. Along the way, we unlock time capsules within our DNA that get us to this stage. When our DNA efficacy rises, we unlock different patterning, different things, and change our blueprint, our template. When we upgrade the template, everything is in cycles, right? I'm a numerologist. 1 to 9 goes around, 1 to 9, 1 to 9, 1 to 9. Master numbers are thrown in. Each time you go around, you rise. It's the same energy in a 1 every cycle, but every time you go around, you rise to new heights yourself. Therefore, the 1 means something different, and the universe is cycling as well. And when you get to higher frequencies, you unlock certain things within your DNA. That's the system we're part of. So this lady that I go online for my last day on social media, that social media that's never brought me any fucking joy, has only brought me fucking thing. 1, because you guys are so asleep you can't see the truth. 2, you're all dazed and confused and you're believing all the lies that are presented to you. This lady had 100 people present to come around and clear the land and to do this and charge her money to get rid of the dark entities and all the rest of it, but they're all there just encapsulated in her mind. And so I think to myself, wow, we've really been taken advantage of. And this is across everything. So I need to get on and do an episode and say that all the things that go bump in the night don't go bump in the night. It's all driven. Now, when you turn on the news every day and it keeps you in a perpetuated state of fear, you think doom and gloom. You look back at our history, for anyone that's old enough, you know, when we grew up, our parents were like, don't do this, you know, blah, blah, blah. There's bad people out there. Don't do that. Y2K, year 2000 comes around, the world's going to end. You know, ancient calendars have been going for years and they all end at a certain time. We all think, oh no, that's the end of the world. I've had like 3 or 4 times in my life where the end of the world's been coming, and it never came. It's like fucking the cure for cancer. And so there's a reasoning behind all this sort of stuff, but there's nothing that can go bump in the night. There's no entity that can enter you and make you do anything against your will. All the negativity on earth is bad human beings doing bad things to other human beings. It's a human at their worst. As I say, all that paranormal activity can be explained as well. There is quantum physicists, there is quantum biology, there is all these emerging scientists that are proving things that I proved and that I did 7 years ago today. But I gave you proof back then that you could test. But because you're all in this little sleepy state, and that's what these awake people are saying, you know, and then we awaken and we start getting on these tangents and there's still drama involved and everything, but we're so young. We're so young. So there's no one that can take over your being and make you do anything against your will. There's people that have tricked you, and that's why you're asleep right now. You think the world's completely something that it's not. And then, as I say, you've got the Akashic record within you. There's storage on the earth for when you reincarnate and come back, but there's also something within you. And then there's a backup system, which is fucking fascinating, because the backup system for that, for our records, for all this soul stuff that you have no idea, which is so complex that you can't even work it out with your logical brain here on earth as a human, especially in the state you're in now, the backup system is whales and dolphins, right? And then you look and you go, hang on a minute, every animal in the wild, as a survival protection thing, guards and gets very aggressive if you come near their young, whereas dolphins will bring their young to us. Whales are a protected species all around the world now, and intuitively how we got to that and what we know and what we don't know, we just don't know. You don't know what you don't know. That's what higher consciousness is. It's going, hey, you might be fucking doing the wrong thing here, but you don't know. And so whales and dolphins are the backup system, and so they carry something with them as well for us, which is fucking fascinating again, being the special, relationship we have. And I don't know if you've heard about healings and things that have gone on with people getting exposed to dolphins. And so there's a system out there, it's there, but there's nothing that goes bump in the night. That's all within you, within your mind, fear, residue, and so everything that you think we're scared of and thing. And I'm going to tell you one thing finally about all of this as well, okay? For people that sort of are really old souls and really resonate with this stuff and go, wow, we have access to all this stuff, but there's a lot of process that now needs to happen in this slow, uncomfortable change we have on earth when we want to change something, because we're habitual creatures. But I went through a stage of trying to, I guess, understand all of these things, but then also get more involved with our star family and bits and pieces. And we have things called soul shock as well. So getting exposed to too much stuff can have a soul shock, which is a completely different symptom or thing that we go through. And processing takes a certain time as well, and everyone processes things differently. I had to shed every belief, forgive people that have wronged me, go through this really transmutation of this dark energy. They call it shadow work, I guess, but there's also traumas involved in bits and pieces. And that's taken years for me to get to a stage where the star family can expose themselves to me without me getting soul shock. But even then, a very profound, miraculous thing gets exposed, and I still question it. I've seen it with my eyes, but I don't believe it. And so I'm saying, you're not going to just wake up one day and go, yeah, because I know all this is going to happen. There's a processing and a shedding, and everyone's different, and it's part transmuting, it's part evolving, learning. It's self-development for a holistic human being, learning about the mind, the soul, frequencies, energy, consciousness, residue, Akashic records, all the rest of all this magic and stuff that is happening. But I can clearly tell you that the fear that you have created for everything that you are about in your life, or even people like me that have had this whole life of fear, and then to work out in the last couple of years that none of these things that were going bump in the night, that were scaring me, that were giving me causing me a lot of distress, thinking that bad things are going to happen, was actually none of it was true. And so it gave me a lot of confidence and courage and to tackle life a little bit differently, and then you get different outcomes, and you're able to go a little bit further and be a little bit more courageous, knowing that none of those things actually operate. And even just knowing that karma, that the creator of the universe can't judge, is non-interfering, can't punish us. It loves us unconditionally and will never ever do anything to us that is unloving. And then knowing if you do wrong things, it's karma that is created within yourself. Karma is an internal job. And then to know that we're cycling to a higher level of frequency where karma is drama, and drama is not needed anymore. So therefore, karma is not needed anymore. But it's actually been part of a system in our DNA for millions of years. It's a Sanskrit word, and it's really ingrained within us. But to then know that we, those bad things when you do something and it turn around, but then to know that karma also can come from past life, but only from our last past life, because it's a sequel to this life. So therefore, and knowing all these things, and that, karma can only be, not only can be dropped and changed if we know the instruction sets of how to do it, but also that the only really past life stuff that means something or will help in this lifetime is from the last life. And also knowing that your Akashic records will only reveal to you your Akashic records if it helps you with your spiritual development in this lifetime. So there's all these laws and rules and life and stuff that goes on that makes it all a better thing. But, we can't take on any entities. It's all just fear-based, unbalanced consciousness, unhealthy consciousness, with residue from our Akashic record and our past lives that contribute to all these things that we that negatively impact us, and they put speed humps and challenges and bits and pieces in this life form. This should be a huge eye-opener for anyone. Just all the stuff that I've spoken about in this small podcast about things that go bump in the night. So it just, if anything, this one's just a little opener, just to say, hey, there's other things and other possibilities out there, and maybe we're not looking at things or seeing things as they are. We're being a little bit negative in that respect. So that's all I wanted to get on with and talk about in this podcast. So hopefully you've benefited from that. Don't be scared to follow. There'll be other topics that are, unknown by most of you, that are going to be so awe-inspiring and profound, and everything also helps you in life to understand it a bit better, especially knowing that we are part of a system and it's in its infancy, and we only hyperfixate on a very short time, but we are part of something that is huge and billions of years old. So thank you for listening. We have comments. I have a website which has further stuff on it, aaronroussos.org. And look, nearly everything that I do besides a couple of books is free, but I do have a reverse engineering way of making a bit of I hope to make a bit of a living for myself one day out of sharing truth and being me, and that's it. I like to do something that no one else on the earth has done. I give everything to you for free, to heal yourself of incurable diseases, find out who you are, grow spiritually, everything. I want you to have access and full access to this when you need it, without any barriers, right? And money is a barrier. And then afterwards, if it profoundly changed your life, you healed yourself of an incurable disease, and then depending on where you're at in life, whether you've got, $1 billion or you've got no money and you're on welfare, you can then go back and use a form of the law of attraction and show gratitude by giving a donation after the fact, whether it's made its impact. So I'm not selling you something going, if it hits, it hits. If it doesn't, it doesn't. You've still been charged either way. I then say after the fact, look, if it has moved you and done something, then show your gratitude by even just $1. So I say to people, even on welfare, numerology readings, if you really like that, tell me, oh my God, this really, then give me $1 and see how the world changes through this energy transfer. Because all it's saying is thank you. And the law of attraction usually comes back tenfold when we understand it and when we do it properly. That was a bit of a piece of the puzzle as well. We've never really got to that. And there's going to be I'm doing the ultimate manifesting and longevity programs and ultimate weight loss. I'm doing stuff that really is suitable and works for everyone. And once again, it's given to you without barriers. And then after the fact, if you give accordingly on what you think, that enables me to keep doing the work I'm doing. But also it's humanitarian. I'm just creating the biggest humanitarian organization in the world, and then I'm handing it back to the people that they will be able to then take it and make a profound difference, a betterment to everything that we do in life. So thank you very much for listening. It's been a pleasure once again. This is the Aaron Roussos podcast.